Steeler Nation, next week on Tuesday, it is the NFL trade deadline, and here at Chat Sports on our main channel, we will be going live with all of the juicy latest news, rumors, everything going on Tuesday. So if you want the best live show out there, here's the thumbnail for our live show that will be next Tuesday morning. So make sure to go check that out next Tuesday on the NFL trade deadline. And without further ado, let's get into the show. What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, back from the dead. I was sick earlier this week, but I am back here to do this amazing show with you guys. What do we have in store on today's episode of Steelers Talk? We got some major Steelers injury news. We're going to be getting into Calvin Austin III, TJ Watt, and more. Unleash Pickens. Maybe. How would we do that? I will reveal that in just a second. And then the latest trade rumors for the Steelers. We have 3 players that the Steelers could target by next Tuesday's trade deadline. So without further ado, let's get right into the show with Calvin Austin III. He was placed on IR for the remainder of the season today. He was the Steelers' 4th round pick this year out of Memphis. He is a dynamic wide receiver. He started the year off on IR with a foot injury, and now he is out for the rest of the year since he was not activated off of IR today. And honestly, I mean, This kind of shocked me, guys. He's been practicing the last couple of weeks. The progression seemed to be going well with everything offensively not working out. It seemed like the Steelers might want to at least put him on the active roster, even if he wasn't going to play the next couple of weeks, just so he could get some reps at the end of the year and really show what he had. And I know a lot of you guys out there really wanted to see him out on the field this season, but it's not going to happen. Here was his numbers last year at Memphis. 74 receptions, over 1,000 yards receiving, 15.5 average, and 9 tutties. The guy is dynamic in open space, and unfortunately, he's just not going to be wearing the black and yellow this year. Next year, hopefully. Now, let's look at the wide receiver depth chart for the Steelers. George Pickens is our wide receiver 1, with Deontay Johnson still at number 2. Chase Claypool, at least for now, is still the wide receiver 3. And then on the bench, we still have Boykin, Sims, and Olszewski. So, here's the deal, guys. Go type 19 in the comments section to send our love to Calvin Austin III. It sucks that we won't be able to see him in a Steeler uniform this year, but go send him your love in the comment section right now by typing 19. Go spam it, guys. All right, and then the other news of the day, more positive this time. TJ Watt was at practice today. Finally, he is back. Now, he was limited. He was off to the side doing his own kind of limited style drills on the sideline, but it's great to see him in the facility with the helmet on, with the practice jersey on, doing his thing in the yellow practice jersey there. It was fantastic to see, and he is actually slated to make his return not this week against Philadelphia, not next week when we have the bye, but the next week after that, week 10, when we face the Saints. And quite honestly, guys, I can't wait to see the last year's Defensive Player of the Year back on the field for the Steelers. Now, okay, guys, I have to admit, I forgot on Sunday. We rolled past this on Sunday's show. Here are the shout-outs for everyone that followed me on Twitter after, I think it was last Friday's episode. So thank you, Aiden. Thank you so much. The Real Eckersley, thank you so much, man. I think that's Pie Sly. I think that's the way you say that. At the Big Sack. Love the picture of the puppy, man. At Peace Eric. Love it, dude. Thank you so much. At Baffage. I think that's how you say it. Then you got Reacts Hunter. Thank you so much, man. Young Jeb. Thanks. It's a shout out to you, my man. Wolfie87. You've been active on my Twitter, liking all my stuff. I see you. I see you on my Twitter, man. Thank you so much. Alan Blue. Lil J Man 502, and Boy the Original. Thank you guys so much. And if you want to get a shout out on the next episode of Steelers Talk, go follow me at Jack_Sperry. Now let's get into the latest on Chase Claypool. Now we've had a ton of Chase Claypool rumors here on Steelers Talk, but PFF, Pro Football Focus, suggested that the Titans could be a suitor in the coming days. This is the trade that they proposed. It would be Chase Claypool going to the Tennessee Titans for a 2023 second-round pick and then a 2024 third-round pick. Now, my thoughts on this, guys, is that I think from Tennessee's side, Chase Claypool's the type of guy they would go for. They lost A.J. Brown in the offseason this year to the Eagles. They traded him away. They did draft Traylon Burks out of Arkansas in the first round, but he's been okay, not fantastic. Same thing with Robert Woods. He's been okay, not fantastic. But Chase Claypool is a very similar body type to A.J. Brown, could play a very similar role. He might be somebody that they want to go get. And me personally, a second and a third for our number 3 receiver, and we need draft picks, I'm going to take this deal all day long. Not like for one reason, George Pickens is freaking fantastic, and I want to give him all the reps that we possibly can give him here. Like Chase Claypool, I like him. I think that he has some value to the team, right? He's got great run blocking. He's got great size, great speed. But Pickens has all of those things too, and right now Claypool is taking away from that. So if we can get a second-round pick and a third-round pick, those are 2 very highly valuable picks, I would take it. I mean, just look at these catches that George Pickens can make. If you can make if you have a guy that can make catches like that and like this, you better be feeding him the fucking rock, okay? Plain and simply. This guy is a special player. He is a superstar. And if we let Claypool go for 2 picks that will be very, very valuable in the future, I'm not going to say no to that, guys. I'm just not. George Pickens, I would love to see him get into a more prominent role as our wide receiver 1 as the season rolls on. And if that means dealing Claypool for a couple of mid-round picks that could turn out to be a corner or a linebacker or an offensive lineman in the future, I'm going to take that all day long. So will trading Claypool help George Pickens grow as a wide receiver? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I think the only way that's going to help him with the growth is, if he's just out of the lineup. He's getting more targets just because Claypool's out of the lineup. So I would say yes for this, but this will be the pinned comment on today's show. So when you get an ad break, go to the comments section and give your answer to this question. All right, now the next guy on our list is Brady Christensen. Brady Christensen, he plays in Carolina right now. He went to BYU. He was drafted to be a tackle. They moved him to guard this year. He's been okay. Like, he's got short arms, which really doesn't help him as a tackle. When I was evaluating him for the draft a couple of years back, I didn't think he was a tackle, guys. He is a guard. And honestly, right now, the Steelers don't need guards. We need tackles. That's why I was a big fan of going after Isaiah Wynn. Right now, Kevin Dotson and James Daniels, they're fine. They're both grading higher than Christensen right now, so I don't understand why we would give up valuable draft capital to go get somebody that's worse. So here is what Fansided had to say about possibly getting Christensen. He's a versatile and young offensive lineman. Brady Christensen was a player I was all over last year in the draft. He has the size to play tackle or at guard, and he has the strength to be a valuable member of an offensive line. He can play 4 positions essentially all along the line, and he has a good deal of starting experience to this point. And then it's hard to gauge what the team would want for him. While he has been serviceable so far in his career, he hasn't locked down a starting role long term. It would be well worth it if the Steelers could send a day 3 pick. At worst, you get a versatile backup. That said, he has legitimate starting potential for a team. So let's take a look at the depth chart for the offensive line right now. Dan Moore Jr., Dotson, Cole, Daniels, and Okorafor. The only guy that I would really spend draft capital to go replace right now is Dan Moore Jr. And, this guy at Fansided, he was talking about how Christensen has the size to play 4 positions on the offensive line. I completely disagree with that evaluation. His arm length is not near where it needs to be for NFL standards to be a tackle. And at the end of the day, he does have the size to be a guard, but we already have 2 guards that are already grading better than he ever has in the league so far. So I wouldn't, unless it's like a 7th round pick, like way back in the draft to get a versatile backup, I'm not making this trade for Brady Christensen. Now is the time in the show to give a shout out to our sportsbook partner here at Chat Sports, BetUS, and they are offering you guys a fantastic deal. If you love sports betting like I do, this is going to be a fantastic deal for you. get this. If you put in a deposit of $100 to $600, BetUS is going to match that deposit by 125%. So let's say you put in $100. BetUS is going to give you $125 free of charge to use on your bets. It is a fantastic deal. You got to use Steelers125 as the promo code at checkout at chatsports.com/bet. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. Now, here are the latest odds for the Steelers game. The over-under is 43, and then the Eagles are the favorite by 10.5 at this point. And honestly, guys, most people are expecting the Eagles to win this one. So my question for you today is, will the Steelers cover the spread? Will they get within 10 points of the Eagles? Type C for cover, type W for won't. I want to say that they're going to cover, but after last week's horrendous offensive performance against a bad Dolphins defense, and now we're going to be going up against one of the best defenses in football, I have to give my answer for W for won't on this question. Now, the next possible trade target here is a guy that we've talked about before on the show, Sidney Jones. He is the third outside cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks right now. He played a lot last season. He's not playing a lot this year because Tariq Woolen is playing his butt off in Seattle. This is what SB Nation had to say about the cornerback here. This is about the only move that would be worth making, but boy, would it be a big ad for the Steelers. With injuries plaguing the group and inconsistent play from the team's top guys, Sidney Jones could take over as the Steelers' top cornerback with the ability to play zone or man effectively. And let me say, I agree with SB Nation here. He would come in, and maybe he wouldn't be the number one corner, but he would definitely play, and he can definitely be a solid pro. Like Cam Sutton and him, I would kind of put on the same level where they're not number one corners. They might not even be number two corners, but they are solid starters in this league, and that's what the Steelers need right now. They need solid cornerback play. And, I mean, you grab him, you can have him for a couple more years, you can develop him, he can play man or zone effectively, which is something that Mike Tomlin cherishes. So I think if you can get the right price for him here, less than a fourth-round pick, a late-round pick for Sidney Jones, I would pull the trigger all day long. Now, the last guy that we're going to be covering today is Daron Payne from the Commanders, former first-round pick, big name, very talented player. Honestly, I am not the biggest fan of Duron Payne and the Steelers going to get him. Let's take a look at his stats here. Pretty decent. 56 to 61 tackles through the first 3 years of his career. And this year he's doing okay. Three and a half sacks to this point in the year as a defensive tackle definitely isn't bad. But at the end of the day, for me, the Steelers don't need to make this move. We're 2-5, guys. Let's be realistic. We're 2-5. We're likely on the brink of a rebuilding season. And Daron Payne's on the last year of his career. Why in the world would we trade what would essentially need to be a third or a fourth round pick to go get a guy that's just going to play for us one season, and then he's going to be gone, and we're probably not even going to get a playoff season out of him? Why would we waste draft capital like that? I think it's an awful idea to go get a guy like Daron Payne. If we're going to get someone at the defensive line position, either at defensive tackle or at edge rusher, it needs to be somebody that's going to be there for multiple years or somebody that's willing to sign a new contract. Now, will Daron Payne be willing to sign another contract? Perhaps, maybe. But at the end of the day, with the Steelers not playing so well, would he really be interested in signing with the Steelers right now? I'm not so sure. And without that assurance that he's going to sign that long-term deal, I don't think I want to sign him or trade for him at this point. Those draft picks are too valuable. I don't want to take a risk on him coming to Pittsburgh for only one season. And at the end of the day, I'm just not sure he's the greatest fit for what we're trying to do, especially because we're getting TJ Watt back in a couple of weeks. All right, guys, I'm looking for the real ones out there. Who made it to the end of the show? If you made it to the end of the show, put real one or here we go in the comments section if you are a real one and made it to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for stopping by Steelers Talk today, and until next time, peace.